Praise God, folks. This is Old Truth Speaker again. This is going to be brief. And before we get to the meat of the video, I like to say one thing, although I hate to say it. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. First of all, we know that Trump was almost, well, I put it, not a landslide, but he won over Cruz and Rubio. And forget Bush. He was really heartbroken. What took Bush out, and I would almost say embarrassment, because it was really hurtful, is that he was just assuming that Nikki Haley was going to back him since well, we won't get into that. But he was, his whole family and him, he was really counting, well, Nikki Haley, it was, in his mind, you could tell it was pretty much in the bag with not Hillary Clinton, with Nikki Haley, I'm sorry. He just knew Nikki Haley's endorsement was his. There was no other way it could go. But when she came out and endorsed Marco Rubio, he was just in the millions of in the negative ads against Trump, and it just didn't mean a thing. Do you understand what's happening in our world today in America? Okay, let's go on a little further. Okay, so now we have Rubio. what a political nightmare for the Republican Party. What a nightmare. As all-out civil war. What a disgrace. And we think, just like a commentator said, and one of the politicians, you have the whole world watches as they disobey the #1 rule of their Republican guard, Ronald Reagan. Never attack another Republican or something like that. You know, it had very little to do with African Americans. But anyway, he was talking from a political point of view. And all the stops been pulled out, and all Donald Trump is telling you that these people are owned. They have to fight and lobby for the laws that the big money put them in there. It's the same thing Bernie Sanders is telling you. It's the same thing with Hillary. They're all owned by the same people. But before we go into that, they pull out all the stoppers. This one's a liar. This one brother caused millions to be killed. This one is ineligible for who? I've never seen it this way. You know, I have never seen, and neither has anyone else, a presidential election like this. You know, running for the primary, the election, or anything. I've never seen, neither has anyone else ever seen this like this. But the real showstopper, and we're going to come back to Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, and Cruz, and Jeb Bush coming out of quitting his candidacy, is Hillary Clinton's win in Nevada. Now that is, I mean, because they were with the news media, which you can't believe everything that come on the media, but this one has an element in truth, from what I can understand about this, is that they've got the large Hispanic vote in Nevada, and I think she won by 5 points or more over Bernie Sanders. But the Bernie Sanders momentum, they think Hillary Clinton literally needed that win. But here's the thing. Hillary Clinton, I told you before that African Americans are just they're just gonna flock to it. They're going to vote for the Clintons. I told you that in large numbers. Now there is a falling away from that pattern slightly, you know, with the younger generation of African Americans. A few of them, I'll put it this way. But for the most part, to have the Black Caucus endorse Hillary Clinton, and John Lewis, this civil rights icon, get up and say, "Well, I know Hillary Clinton, I know the Clintons, but I've been marching and for this one and that one in the school. I didn't see Bernie Sanders at all. And he said this twice. That was another way of sort of pushing Bernie Sanders down and elevating and throwing Hillary Clinton at African Americans. I'm endorsing her. I didn't. What a slap in the face. What a disgrace. You might as well vote for Ku Klux Klan. Remember, they was endorsed. She endorsed heavily Goldwater, who was diametrically opposed to the civil rights. He fought against it tooth and nail. So this lady is commentator from 365 Politics. I forgot her name and I have it on the tip of my tongue. Forgive me. She stopped him in Washington. She said, "Excuse me, Mr. Representative Lewis," or whatever, Mr. Lewis. "When did you see Hillary Clinton at these, or any of the Clinton at these marches in the 60s? He turned around and walked away. Not only she, I thought that was highly strange of him, highly unlikely, since he always has, a lot to say. We'll leave it like that. No, it was a lie. That's what it is. He didn't see no Clinton. Let me put it to you this way. Janet Reno, who was Bill Clinton's attorney general, told him he was warned about that crime bill, which he knew perfectly well who it would affect. Said it's going to affect those who stood by you and put you and voted for you in large numbers to help you put you in office. Talking about the African American. You're going to cause a lot of them to be locked up. And not only that, with the Republican Party, when you had this Monica Lewinsky situation, and they went through the procedures of impeaching him, but they didn't have enough vote. Mr. David Carroll was right. It's a circus, and it's an embarrassment and a disgrace. But getting back to what I was saying, they didn't have enough vote. So like Mr. Carroll said, he said, okay, it'll be just a lame duck. We won't pass the thing. What did he do? He threw African Americans under the bus and people of color. Remember, that was the first black president. I'll tell you what, I don't want my last tenure in the White House to be of a lame duck. Let's pass one of your crime bills. Remember, the crime bill was Republican. He made the deal. He went to them and signed it. That, and he reformed welfare reform. The crime bill and the welfare reform. Forget about NAFTA trade agreement. Forget about when he came into office and said he was going to build that building, put up his office in Harlem. Look at the demographics of Harlem then and now. Gentrification to the highest. Most of the blacks are gone. But now what an embarrassment, what a slap in the face. Then you get these pastors, these black pastors. I don't put anything past black pastors. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a God hater. I believe in the Bible. But I don't care, white or black. You very seldom see anybody operate out of the truth of God. Really? You're going to endorse Hillary Clinton? And let me tell you what is really an embarrassment and a disgrace. What you've done is to throw the majority of the African American vote, you Negroes. Remember, when you're trying to define it, there's nothing logical about most African Americans. Remember that. There's nothing logical. You have to stand from that point of view. So stop racking your brain trying to figure this out. What is the most embarrassing thing? At the end of his second term, you were locked up at twice the rate, African Americans, Negroes, or whatever you want to call yourself. As the last three Republican Party, you were doubly incarcerated. Your numbers doubled at the end of his second term. He knew this all along. He was warned by Janet Reno. He knew this all along. And he wasn't the first one. Yet you got Al Sharpton, he's up there, Al the Snitch Sharpton, these buffoons, and the Black Caucus. Whose side are you guys on? Sambos. Not Uncle Tom. See, Uncle Tom was a brave hero, despite what you see in the media. Sambos, that's what they are. A disgrace. We've become a... David Carroll is right. We've become a laughing stock to humanity. How in the hell can you vote for somebody after he just practically destroyed the very fiber of the American, African American civil rights, family and everything else? How can you? See, everybody's asking this. This commentator, and I'm going to leave it with this, and we're going to go have part 2 later. This commentator, and this is on Fox, you know, Republican, not CNN, who people, oh, they back the liberals or what. This commentator asks, how in the world can African Americans vote or endorse Hillary? How can they? And he was just really racking. He was like, you could tell he was incensed. I don't understand. This is illogical. How come? Don't they understand that the laws and the bills that the Democratic Party passed literally destroyed the fiber of the African American family? Do you know that there's only about 12 million black men left? And once you take out the large number that is incarcerated, and they're still being incarcerated at a mass incarceration of African Americans. A lot of Americans, now it's everybody, but especially African Americans. The whole thing is Hillary Clinton stood in 100% agreement with her husband when he passed these laws. He just threw you under the bus. Then a few weeks ago, he had the audacity, or 3 weeks, whatever it is. Well, I apologize. What did our Negro say? Well, that was a different tenure. You know what I mean? He's the first black president. Really? Really? Let me tell you something. It's not what comes out of a man's mouth, but you watch his ways and his actions. These people are extremely dangerous. Do you understand that? For them, I said it before and I'll say it again. Most politicians are as full of crap as a constipated elephant. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Donald Trump, however, while remember, he's not a career politician. And Bernie Sanders is thinking out of him. And you have a few others, just very few. I'm not telling anybody who to vote for. Like they used to say in the old West, pour your own poison. But to vote for somebody that literally almost destroyed the fabric of African American life in America, you've got to be kidding. This is a 3-ring circus, a joke. Political, imbecilic buffoonery at the lowest. We've become a laughing stock, and it's a damn disgrace. God forgive me. Just pray, folks. I mean, just forgive me. Just pray. We really need it. It won't be a miracle after these people get through. God help.